Hi there, my name is Zach Fott and this is Edgar, and we're here to show you how to assemble our base 30. Today the things that you will be needing are going to be the screw gun, the rubber mallet. I know we've said in previous videos that the nail gun is going to be optional. This time it is not optional, you will need them for sure. We also want to remember that safety is very important, so we're going to be using safety goggles first and foremost. But if you would like to, you have the option to use safety gloves as well. One of the first things we're going to be doing is laying out this Shaker White base 30 and then separating everything according to screw and L bracket and shelf pins and so on. Now let's get into assembling the base 30. One of our first steps is going to be assembling the drawers. We want to make sure that we're going to start from the top and then go to the bottom. So first he is going ahead and putting on the bumpers so that everything will then shut smoothly and nice and tight at the very end. Everything is dovetail construction, so we want to make sure that you hit it in nice and tight. As you see, Edgar's putting on his safety goggles right before he's going to be grabbing the nail gun. We want to make sure to put the screw in between the dovetail construction. This is the last step right before we attach it to the face of the drawer. There is no right or wrong. Either side is the correct side. It all has finished product. If you do not use the nail gun for the dovetail construction, while opening and closing these drawers, your drawer will fall apart. In this base 30, there are 2 drawers as well as 2 doors. One thing you should know, everything is pre-drilled, and so there is a hole for every screw. Now that the drawers are complete, the next process is going to be moving on to the actual body and the frame of the cabinet. So I'm going to move aside so Edgar can start by putting on the bumpers as well. It's going to be one of our always going to be one of our first processes. So we'll put the bumpers on so that the doors will stay even and flush with the frame. And after the bumpers are finished, we're going to be putting on the hinges, and then that's where the tapered style screws will be coming back into play. The tapered screws are for the hinges only. If you use a different type of screw, it may go through the door and then you will have to replace the door from there. In this particular model, you can see that they are soft close. And so now that all 4 hinges are attached and closed, we can now grab the frame of the cabinet and attach the doors to the frame. There will be again, the pan style screw that's going to be the longer of the 2 pan style screws that will be attaching the hinge to the frame of the cabinet. Again, everything is pre-drilled, so you saw Edgar was moving the frame around so that he could line the hinge up with the hole in the frame. Our next step is going to be the L brackets, which again, we want to make sure that the L brackets, as we've discussed in previous videos, are facing the grooved part of the cabinet. One thing to remember is that there will be extra material after every cabinet. A lot of that's just for your benefit if you happen to lose something, and then you will have extras. As Edgar is doing the last of this L brackets, I'm going to go ahead and grab the sidewall for him. The sidewall will need to be fit just right inside the groove. At the top of the base 30, we want to make sure that it is flush with the frame of the cabinet, because then when installing, that makes it a lot easier for when leveling it off or maybe needing to shim from the ground up. If you do not make it flush with the top, your cabinets can be unlevel. Again, remember that we're using the shorter of the 2 pan style screws so that we don't have one of the longer screws going through the side of the cabinet, and it's something you'll have to fix down the road. Again, if you're not flushing this up, making it flush at the top, these will not line up at the bottom of the cabinet. You can see that it fit in there nice and smooth. Just making sure that we're fitting in there nice and tight. As we finish, the last two of the shorter of the two pan style screws are going to be attached right now, and then we'll be moving on to the next phase. So our next step is going to be attaching the back of the cabinet. Sometimes this can be a two-man job, and in this case I am going to help Edgar for the purpose. As you can see, because we're flush, it fits in there nice and tight. Again, this needs to be flush at the top of the cabinet so that it can be level. I will then switch sides with Edgar so he can go ahead and do the other side. All right, as we finish nailing the edge of this, we're going to be grabbing the black sheetrock style screw to be screwing into the bottom plate of this cabinet, which then just squares everything up and secures it. And then one of the last things as far as assembling all of this cabinet is going to be the toe kick. We're going to place the toe kick on here, and again, this is where the nail gun is required because that's what holds this on. Now that the toe kick is flush on both sides, I just want to give a reminder that the toe kick can be either covered by an outside corner molding or a scribe, but that is the main reason we want to make sure that this is flush so that those trim pieces can fit. All right, now moving on to installing the drawers. We have these facets right here that are going to be installed to the back panel of the cabinet. I do want to point out a couple things while Edgar is installing those two. You are able to adjust these drawers depending on the square of your wall. So if your wall is off a little bit, you can move these facets just a little bit to make sure your face of your drawer is square. So right in the middle, just we'll square it up. You'll see the two lines connecting on top. He will then put one screw right in the middle to make sure that while the installation, it does not get moved around, and so your drawers can stay square. Next, we're going to be putting the rails in. The rails just slide straight into your facets, and again, everything being pre-drilled, the hole in the side of the frame is going to be already drilled for your drawer rails. Everything is soft closed. The screw that Edgar is using is going to be the tapered style screw that's going to go straight in and sit flush. It'll sit flush with your rails so that it does not damage and or scratch the side of your drawers. We want to make sure that the hole that it goes into is going to go into the, would say, the front hole of the rails. So there are about three different holes that you can pick from. So we want to make sure that we go into the furthest one closest to the cabinet so that everything does sit in there nice and flush and square. So the very last step of this process in the Shaker White Base 30 is going to be putting in the stabilizers. And this is what actually keeps the whole cabinet square from moving back and forth. It will go one in every corner of the cabinet. All right, now that we've put in the stabilizers, we just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Edgar and I, we really appreciate your time. We hope this helps you guys in every little part of what you guys may be doing, whether it's assembling and or installation. If you have any questions, you may reach out to us on our email. Will be either posted on our website and or on this video. We thank you so much for joining us here at Skyline Cabinetry. Have a great day.